Hi, I'm Quinn Nguyen at EnerCom's the Oil and Services Conference in San Francisco, California. And joining me now is Alan Krenek, Chief Financial Officer of Basic Energy Services. Hi, Alan.
Hey, Quinn. Thank you.
Now, tell us about Basic Energy. What are your four business segments, and what services do you provide oil and gas companies?
Basic Energy Services provides an array of well site services throughout the life of a well, from drilling to completion, maintenance, workover. And we have four major business segments: completion and remedial services, our fluid services segment, well servicing, and contract drilling segments.
Okay, now in the fourth quarter of 2010, your company reported improved utilization rates and revenues. What were the key drivers for success during the quarter?
Well, traditionally, the fourth quarter is usually the worst quarter of the year from a seasonal factor because of less daylight hours, weather factors, holidays that are in the fourth quarter. But this fourth quarter was actually the best quarter of 2010. We have experienced 6 sequential quarters of increased revenues. So the momentum has continued to flow into 2011, and we expect 2011 to be a good year for Basic Energy Services.
And last year was a very active year for you folks. Your acquisition of Platinum Pressure and Admiral Well Services. How do your acquisitions fit into your company's strategy?
Well, we've actually done over 60 acquisitions since 2003. There's 2 reasons that we would do acquisitions normally. One would be to enter a new geographical market, which the Admiral and Platinum acquisition got us into the Marcellus Shale in the Appalachian Basin. And we would also do an acquisition normally for getting into a new service line.
Okay. Now, Basic operates in key oil and gas basins across the U.S. What does capital allocation plan look like for you folks in 2011?
We recently announced a capital plan of $146 million for 2011. That's up from $84 million in 2010. The primary beneficiaries of that are going to be our fluid services segment and our completion and remedial segment. The largest item that we're going to be adding is a 25,000 horsepower frac spread in the Wolfberry play in the Permian region, Permian Basin, that will come online on April 1st.
And is demand for your services continuing to grow in the oils and liquids rich basins, or are you seeing a plateau?
We're actually seeing increasing activity in our oil basins. We have moved around some equipment from natural gas locations to the Permian Basin, to the Bakken up in the Wilson Basin, as well as into the Eagle Ford play in South Texas. So activity levels so far this year have been very, very good, very high, increase from the fourth quarter, except for the first week of February where we experienced delays, et cetera, from the freezing rain and ice and snowy conditions that happened during that week across the U.S.
Now, you recently improved your balance sheet and increased your liquidity. Talk to us more about that.
Yeah, we were very pleased in February when we refinanced our high interest notes, 11 5/8 coupon notes that were due in 2014. We issued $275 million of senior notes with a 7 3/4 interest rate to replace that. That'll save us about $7 million a year in interest expense, as well as extend the maturity into 2019. And at the same time, we established a $165 million credit revolver that will allow us to further grow the company in 2011 and in future years.
So what else should we know about your company?
I think what people need to know about Basic is that we have over 60% exposure to oil and liquid-rich basins in the U.S. We are going to grow the company in 2011, and we're going to take advantage of the current market conditions to allow that growth.
Okay, Alan, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
You bet. Thank you, Quinn.
I'm Quinn Nguyen for oilandgas360.com.